Hey, it's Leah. I'm so excited that you're here. And I promise I'm going to get a lavalier mic, camera, all the things one of these days. But we are work in progress, aren't we? Isn't life a work in progress? And even when you have all the accoutrements, sometimes isn't it not perfect? Like, for instance, people talk to me a lot about feeling lonely, and especially since this pandemic, right? And it's something that we're really not talking about. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling perfect, whole, and complete? Or do you feel lonely? The big L word. How are you? Because I have a lot of students tell me they feel lonely and they're ashamed of feeling lonely. And so it's the isolator of isolators because you don't want to talk about it, and then loneliness begets loneliness. And what I want to tell you is that you're never alone. Do 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 do. Creepy. I'm watching you. You're with relationship, with everything. You're with these trees. You are these trees. You're the sunset. You're the breath that you breathe. There is no separation. And you're not even alone in the feeling of feeling alone. And the good news is that if you do have this opportunity to be with self, meaning there's no other like people in the foreseeable area, right? So you are like with self, you have that time to absorb and learn and grow. And that might be like sort of eye roll and cringy, right? But truly, some people don't ever get that. Indulge in really positive habits that make you feel good. Make every day a spa day. And ask yourself, what am I being called to do in this time? Because there are so many things that you can do when you're on your own, when you have that free time that you couldn't otherwise do. Like write a book, read a book, come up with some amazing idea, write that screenplay, develop something, invent something, do the piece of art, write a song, create a business. You can't have a herd of people around while you're doing those things. You can build teams later, but you need to have moments of isolation. And that could be celebrated. But because we attack it like something's missing and something's wrong with you, if you go into that cocoon time instead of, oh, wow, you're creating something amazing, you're really with self. How often do we ask like somebody who's been married a long time? Like, I know I've asked this a lot because I'm always curious because I want to know, because I haven't been married 50 years or 20 years or a year or whatever, right? So I'll ask somebody when I meet them and they've been married 30, 50 years. I say, what's your secret? But what about when somebody's been with self a long time? Instead of shaming, to go, what's your secret? What have you learned? If we just invited this idea that you're always expanding, the sadness, the loneliness comes from thinking something is missing and you're flawed, but you're not. So if you're with self, you have this opportunity to create something absolutely beautiful that could not be done with people around. So it's a blessing time, it's a cocoon time, a sacred time. And when that has come to fruition, then people will come in perfect divine right timing. And sometimes people feel really lonely and there's a million people around. So the truth is, you're never alone. Do, 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 do. Never. You actually are never alone. So if you're just with self, it's like, breathe. I love time by myself. I need that. I love being with people. But I have so much energy that I'm giving and exchanging when I'm with somebody, whether it's with a student coaching or with a friend or with family. It's a lot of energy, or just being out in public. If you're with self but you're in public, in a public area, it soaks up a lot of energy. So I love retreating and coming into self. But I invite you, because the shift for me was when there was no shame around it anymore. I remember as a teenager judging people when they ate alone. I thought, oh, how embarrassing. They don't have any friends. And like, I just was so judgy-wudgy about it. And then later on, I guess it was like, I don't know, in my mid 20s, I just started doing things on my own. And especially when I started doing stand up comedy, then I started going to bars alone. And it was like a superpower because I could go in so mysterious and then go, do stand up. I had a mission, but I could go do that alone. And then I began eating meals alone, going to see shows alone. It's not a big deal, especially when you're doing stand up. You go see shows all the time alone and you're performing a lot. You don't always have all these people. You're doing a bunch of different things. So it creates this interdependence where you're depending upon other people, but you're independent. You're not isolated, but you're with self. You're going and doing things. So I've talked to a lot of students who've never seen a movie by themselves or gone to have a meal by themselves. And if that's you, I invite you to do it because it's really cool. And you get to be with you and confront all that stuff that says there's anything wrong with that, because there's not. And then ask yourself what's being birthed through you in this beautiful time that you get to explore who you are and what you have to give. Because then sometimes people will be around and it almost feels like they're robbing you of that time. Because now, your time is limited. So indulge in that time. And then also remember that you're never alone. You are with everything. You're with the trees. You're with the clouds. You're with all of nature. You're watching this video. We're connected. I feel your energy. Before I did this video, I put on essential oils. I'm like, what am I doing? Nobody can smell me. But it's an energy because I feel you with me. You were drawn to this to remember that you're not alone. Ever. Now you'll wish you are. There's greatness in you. So if you feel lonely, it's a beautiful time to ask yourself, what is being called of me right now? Some creative idea. A book is being begged to be written. I have the time to do it. Meditate. Take yourself out on dates. Have fun. Enjoy. You're never alone. You're with self. You're in relationship with everything. I really do think we're meant to be here, to be in relationship, right? Like, I mean, you look from an acting perspective, every script is written about relationship. And then, the one that I've talked about before, which is Into the Wild, the guy was trying to escape relationship because he's like, just forget everybody, I'll be on my own. And then you discover you can't escape relationship. Everything's relationship. You're now in relationship with your food and like the weather and so there's no escaping it. So I think, what you're speaking to is that it's like, what is that feeling when we feel sad and alone? Because this is where a lot of not so great decisions are made, right?
Someone actually cares if I like live or die today. Wow, they care. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you say something from your heart, or you smile at somebody, or you're genuine, you're just present with somebody, how it can change the course of somebody's day, because it really can. But nothing's ever missing, whether you're alone or with somebody. You're alone. You're alone, and you're still in relationship with everything. Always.
Yeah.
Root of all of us, we have these feelings that are like, I'm inadequate. Add a mental illness and drugs or something, you're really in trouble. But like at the root of all of us, we have those insecurities. And so I think that's where the healing can take place, because it's like, yeah, somebody who goes out and does these heinous things is not filled with self-love, compassion. I guarantee it.
If you don't really have anyone or anything mirroring love back to you, it's very easy to actually forget and like even atrophy our capacity for love. So to me, that's the most difficult thing about aloneness, and that's something that I still really, I would rather not experience this feeling of like my capacity to love and be reflected diminished, because that's really scary for me, because I started even like literally losing my capacity to love like the plants that I was supposed to be taking care of. I would literally wake up and be like, I hate these fucking plants. No one takes care of me. No one waters me.
See, and that's exactly so interesting, Natalia. And I love that you say that, because now you're seeing how the relationship is reflected everywhere. And you're like, wait a second, this relationship is reflected everywhere. And we as artists have an ability and responsibility to look at this, because you do have the ability to actually connect to somebody who has gone into those feelings of, I am all alone. Nobody's ever going to love me. I'm unloved. I mean, this is where the biggest crimes are created. This is why Meisner says it's a spiritual calling, because you literally have the ability to remind somebody that they are not alone inside of humanity. And whatever it is that I'm not giving myself. And ironically, the minute I give myself that, the plants come to bloom, the people show up. Thing that you like chase runs away. Everything.
Really, that's so true.
You are this. You are this sunset. You are the green trees. The trees are happy to see you when you walk by. You are never, ever alone. You are with everything. Create the love inside that you wish to feel, truly. Even if there's not a little person jumping on you, even if you don't have whatever, anybody around.
You have to follow your heart.